Well, let's get a bit more political interpretation of what's really going on behind the scenes in the Labour Party. And I'm going to talk to Kevin Maguire, the Associate Editor at the Daily Mirror. Kevin, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Nigel. You've been offered a peerage?
No, good God, no.
What about a knighthood?
Good God, no. You must be joking. Kevin, they like you more than they like me, but I can assure you.
Are you serious?
I'm not so sure.
All right, call it a tie on that one.
Yeah,
you know.
we have something in common.
Now, Kevin, I have to congratulate the Mirror Group because the Sunday Mirror headline today, Queen orders a hard Megxit. Without doubt, the best front page of the day.
Good job.
And Kevin, tell me, how are these Labour leadership candidates facing up to a country that will have left the European Union?
Good question.
By trying not to talk about it at the moment is the way they're doing it.
I mean, Jess Phillips kind of hinting that maybe we could rejoin.
Yeah, then she backtracked. In fact, her first major media appearance, a TV interview, ended up in a clarification where she spoke about in 2024, 25, at the next general election, possibly proposing another referendum. Now, Keir Starmer, who was the shadow Brexit secretary, pushed very hard for Labour to propose a referendum, although he didn't want the Corbyn position of not saying how Labour would go in that referendum. He wanted it to be recommend and remain. He's backed off and just accepts that.
Shut up, bro.
Britain will be out and to kind of leave it. There'll have to be a formal word in the manifesto, and it might be closer cooperation, be warmer, but I can't see the next Labour manifesto fighting the last election with a referendum proposal. But no, they're keeping their heads down. They'll wait for the 31st to be out of the way. Then they'll get stuck into the trade negotiations with the European Union, which are just going to be tricky. Of course, there'll be talks with Trump down the line. That's where they will focus.
Yeah, and so far, I know it's really, really early in this process that goes on to the 4th of April, which is almost unbelievable. But I have to say, I really did think that Lisa Nandy did incredibly well with Andrew Neil the other evening.
Okay.
No, I think she would be their best choice. I think she's got the most potential. Yeah, absolutely. She did well at the hustings within Parliament with her fellow MP. She did well yesterday, Andrew Neil. She kind of just she left aside bluster and tried to answer the questions honestly. We know Boris Johnson dodged the Andrew Neil interview during the
Here we go again.
election. You know yourself, he's very tough because he's very forensic. Yeah, he took Jeremy Corbyn apart, who was underprepared during the election. But no, I think Nandy would be their finest choice. All the polling at the moment suggests she has a lot of ground to make up, and it looks a two-horse race between Keir Starmer and Rebecca Long-Bailey, who is, despite her denials, the continuity Corbyn candidate. And of course, as she in one breath says, "I'm not the Corbyn continuity candidate," and in the next she's given him 10 out of 10 as a leader. So she's kind of clearly conflicted on how she handles that issue. But see, Nigel, I take issue with you where you say it goes to April the 4th, and it's too long. I think it's too short. And the reason I argue this, Nigel, is Labour's just suffered a 4th successive election defeat in 9 years.
Okay.
That 80-seat majority Boris Johnson has, which is effectively 87 because Sinn Féin don't turn up, means he won't lose any votes. And the next general election will be 4 or 5 years. I think Labour needs a long, hard look at itself, a really detailed post-mortem. And then it should hold its leadership election. I think it's gone too soon. I think it needs a fundamental rethink. Now, that doesn't mean chucking all the bathwater out with the baby and ditching all the policies.
Is he all right upstairs?
But it does mean you've got to shape yourself for the next election. And when you're suffering from the last one, I don't think you're in a position to do it.
Isn't the reality, Kevin, that Labour can't win? I mean, for Labour to win in 5 years, it would need a sort of 1945 type swing. Really, they need a leader for at least 10 years, don't they?
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
Yeah, arguably, and you might need your Neil Kinnock first to actually reshape the party before you get your John Smith, who I think would have won, or Tony Blair, who certainly did. It's just leaving politics aside. Although politics is also, as you know, incredibly volatile at the moment.
Fact.
And we keep looking at old maps when the way forward is yet to be charted properly. So it is possible they could overturn that huge Tory majority. Very difficult to get an overall majority themselves, but you could see them becoming the biggest party if all the cards fall right. We don't know what the state of the economy will be. We don't know what the standing of Boris Johnson will be. Of course, governments do take damage and hits over the time. Johnson did well increasing the Conservative share of the vote by 2% in the fourth election, but Labour lost.
What?
Because its own vote fell 8%. That's why it lost. Labour beat itself.
No, I think that's absolutely right. And Kevin, one last story quickly.
Okay.
Jeremy Corbyn is apparently putting forward John Bercow, Tom Watson, and one of his former key aides and chief of staff, Carrie Murphy, for peerages.
Yeah, I remember.
Why?
I remember at the very beginning he was going to have nothing to do with patronage. But I think the reality kicks in. One, leaders like to exercise that patronage, and two, there is, in truth, and I'm with you. I think the House of Lords should be absolutely elected. No one should be appointed. It shouldn't be a house of cronies. This York idea is just a kind of smokescreen to take us away from the main concern.
And they decamped off to Montecito, bought themselves a massive mansion, and they were supposed to be doing it, Meghan, if you remember, this was going to be their liberation, their freedom, and it was supposed to make them happy. I've never seen two more miserable people who never stop whining and suing absolutely everybody.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yes.
In the pretense that this is because they found their liberation and freedom. If you're so damn happy and free and liberated, well, shut up, stop whining and complaining about everything. But they're obviously not happy. And it's obviously been diminishing returns where when you trash your family again and again and again, eventually there's not much left to say.
Fact.
And people don't really want to hear it. It's like the Spotify guy said. They're just a pair of grifters who just want to trash their family for loads of money and not put a shift in to do proper work. You and I know how hard it is to do this kind of thing properly. You know, it's a lot of work with a dedicated team, and you put the hours in, and you've got to be creative and high energy and really put graft in.
Okay.
These two wanted to do massive deals with companies and then not do any work. Nobody wants to see her next podcast. Nobody listened to the first one. And that's for this thing she's now doing with the ridiculously long name that no one can remember. Where she's going to try and be the
American, whatever. I have to write it down. American Riviera Orchard. See footnote 47 for the remainder of the name.
Right, and she's now got all her celebrity, sort of B-list, C-list mates putting out Instagram posts about her jam, and it's like, how the mighty fall. This was a woman who had it all in this country, who literally had it all, and is now flogging jam from her kitchen in Montecito.
What?
While her husband runs around fuming about absolutely everything and everyone, because he knows, in his gut, he knows what he's lost. And eventually, those chickens will come home to roost.
Fact.
And then she will be touting their eggs on her stupid website where she's wearing evening gowns while walking around her mansion that we're supposed to feel sorry for her because she's in. I love it. But on the grifter subject, one of the funniest things that was Bill Simmons, who said that at Spotify, I've never seen such a pair of grifters. They wouldn't do any work.
Why?
She got paid all this money. She barely did anything. Him too.
Yeah.
And now she signs this pod deal with this Lemonada. We're not getting a podcast for years. And then she decides to sign this deal with Netflix. She's done nothing other than now this show she's going to do on cooking and friendship. Finally, okay, we'll believe it when we see it. And then finally, she's got her little Riviera thing going, where so far we've had one jar of strawberry jam. She's so lazy.
The whole thing. It's sort of lazy and a bit pathetic,
God, please, no! No!
This is somebody who demands that we use the title Duchess of Sussex. I come from Sussex, which is a county in the south of England. I've spent more time in Sussex in the last month than Meghan Markle has spent in her entire life. She has actual
She's
right.
your ruler, Piers. I didn't know that. She's your...
She ain't my ruler, Meghan Kelly. She is somebody who, listen, as I've said to you, I think many times before, if they actually want to do this kind of thing and trade themselves around as sort of, celebrities and do that sort of circus, then they can do it, but they can't do it with the royal titles. Fact. They shouldn't be using the royal titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, bestowed on them by the monarchy, an institution they constantly complain about and trash whenever they get the chance. Fine, you want to go off and be celebrities in California, do it. But don't trade on the titles.
That was easy.
Every time I see her demanding to be called Duchess of Sussex, I laugh. Nobody in Britain calls her that. Meghan Markle. She got lucky, met her prince, dragged him out of the bosom of his family, dragged him away from the monarchy, which bestowed those titles on them, and has now ruthlessly, with him, exploited those titles for massive personal gain.
What do you mean by that?
And I think it's disgusting and hypocritical. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. I hope that King Charles, who obviously is massively distracted by his illness, but I hope that King Charles at some stage just has that conversation and says, you can't keep the titles, I'm sorry.
Come on now, dog.
But you can't keep demeaning the status of being a member of the royal family and attacking the family and the monarchy and retain your...
Harry and Meghan are Alistair Campbell and Karen Vorderman, and William and Kate is Dan Wootton and Maya Tusi.
Yeah. But look, we've got to talk about the issue that's dividing the internet today, okay? It may not be as important as free speech or political leadership, but everyone has an opinion on Prince William's beard.
Oh my God!
He looks younger, I think. He looks vibrant. But what's the verdict of our panel? Emma Rock, yay or nay to the beard?
He looks quite good. I like it. Yeah, it looks very macho. If he's allowed to be macho, for so long we've been told you're not allowed to be masculine, but he looks good. He looks rugged. It's what we need right now.
He looks younger, doesn't he? Yeah, he doesn't look woke good with his beard, does he?
It kind of balances out the hair,
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's a good look. Sarah Davies Cash, what do you reckon? Yay or nay to William's beard?
I was more looking at Catherine because I always do that. But no, I thought he was a bit rough and ready, and he had a little twinkle in his eye, didn't he?
So rough and ready in a good way?
Oh yes.
Fraser McFarlane, what do you reckon?
Well, I don't think the late Queen would have approved. I don't think she liked facial hair, but...
Are you serious?
It suits him a lot better than it does on Prince Harry.
Yeah, it does actually. And this is what's so interesting, right? Believe me, this was not just a coincidence that William put this video out with the beard, because Harry and William have had this long-running battle over beards and whether they were allowed to have one or not. And I think, Fraser, it will actually devastate Harry.
Stop it.
That William does look better with a beard than he did, because it was sort of the one thing that he had to hold over his brother, because the background, of course, the late Queen allowed Harry to have a beard at his wedding to Meghan, but wouldn't allow William as the future king to have one.
Well, you're actually making me feel bad for Harry for once, that the only thing he could hold over his brother was having a beard. Poor lad. I've never actually felt sympathy for Harry until just now.
And now he's lost that too. He's lost that too.
Poor guy. Yeah, karma.
But no, I think, look, it was obviously summer, so he probably thought, well, I'm on my holidays, I'm not going to shave. But I personally would not mind seeing William out and about with a beard. I thought it looked good. But Fraser, do you think that the late Queen was right, that the head of state or the future head of state should not have facial hair?
I honestly don't think it matters. I think we just need to allow them to
stop it,
have some time as a family during this summer, enjoy themselves, and then get back to working later in the year when Catherine's back to full health.
And wasn't it amazing, Sarah, to see Catherine glowing in that photo?
Almost there.
And
I love it. And I worry about her all the time. Yeah. And you know what really hurt? Because I didn't believe that she had cancer to begin with because it hadn't come out. And I thought, well, it's got to be serious. And then there was all that nastiness online.
Are you serious?
And I thought, well, just leave the lady alone. I mean, I said, how would you like it if you're sick in bed, and somebody phones you up and, and try it just doesn't bear thinking about. And then when she came out, I actually cried. Because she's such a lovely girl, isn't she? She's beautiful.
She is. And I think, Emma Rock, we're going to have to give Catherine some time. It's okay for her to pop up like this, but she needs to properly recover. It has been really serious what she's been going through. So I think it's bad that there's a lot of pressure being put on her at the moment to return to full-time duties. I've spoken to a lot of people about this, Emma, and it might be some time. Maybe she's not going to return to the same sort of grueling work schedule, but I don't think that matters. William's out there doing that. We want Catherine to be looking after her health and also being able to devote time to her children, especially given one of them is the future king of this country too.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge supporter of Catherine and William. I think the problem where there was a little bit of discrepancy and people started questioning a lot is, again, how it was portrayed in the media and all the difficulties with the photo they put out that was, manipulated, and then there was something else, and then there was a potential viewing of her at a farm shop, and people were all starting to... I think, like with a lot of stuff, when the media isn't, or people in the media aren't clear and direct and honest, that's like with the attacks with the children. I think it creates a vacuum for a load of people to start discussing things. But
I think Kensington Palace really mishandled that situation, to be honest, because you can't just leave a vacuum. I don't use the term conspiracy theory. I'm very clear on this because most conspiracy theories, in my view, come true. So I wouldn't say it's a conspiracy theory about Catherine. They were just outright lies. I mean, idiots like that guy Christopher Boozy, who Harry and Meghan love. They featured him in their Netflix show. He's sort of the spiritual leader of the Sussex Squad. He was out there saying that even the video where Catherine announced her cancer was fake. He claimed it was a deep fake manipulated by AI. And the crazy thing about that, right, is that actually it was filmed by the BBC. So lots of this stuff was ludicrous, but I do agree, Emma, when you leave that sort of vacuum, unfortunately what happens in this day and age is that's where... Well, it's where mistruths can be fueled. So I think it is always best to try and be honest, but obviously... Wait for it. There were reasons why Catherine couldn't, because she wanted to tell the kids first, which is totally fair enough, but she didn't want the kids to know.
Director of the Heritage Foundation, very great man. And he's been trying to let the public know whether Harry has been... done the right thing and when he's had to sign the forms. Yeah, right. That he didn't make any lies. So he's had to go, what he said to me, he's used the freedom of information twice. He's had 2 Federation court hearings. President Biden blocked anybody letting them see what was actually the paperwork, what Harry had said. Why? And of course, if Trump is there, he's going to get rid of Harry if he has actually lied. And the lying is all about his drug taking.
Okay.
Now, what is extraordinary is that Harry put that in Spare, the book he wrote about himself.
In detail.
In absolute detail. And he said he had experimented with cocaine, magic mushrooms, and cannabis, which Neil Gardiner said could make him leave the country. And he, what I couldn't understand is that if he didn't realise what he was saying, that he didn't get help. I feel sure that Meghan read the book because she would have wanted to know and help him, that like lots of partners would do. Didn't she say, do you think this is a good idea? Yeah, right. the journalist Moharinga, who ghost wrote it, didn't he say anything? The publisher's lawyer or the editor? So to protect him and
well,
say,
Harry's own lawyer must have looked at it, Angela, too.
Yeah.